What's good, Combat Sports fans? It's your boy Bando back at it with another episode of Combat and Kick It. And the only thing I'm going to say to start this off is that June sucks. June has sucked ass when it comes to the fight game. Here's why. So, like I said in the last video, this is like the 1,000th time talking about it, and now it's going to be the last time talking about it until this eventually comes back around again. But Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler is officially off. Officially off, and the replacement seems to be Alex Pereira versus Yuri Petroska 2 for the light heavyweight championship. Now, that was the absolute best option the UFC can come up with. In my opinion, I said it before, you got to bring somebody who's a, big name, big star. You got to bring some heavy gunning into this. You got to bring somebody like a Alex Pereira, Max Holloway, somebody who's hot right now. Somebody who's still at the, you got to bring somebody like that in. And even though I really wanted to see Chandler still fight, and it's wild that Charles was supposed to be backup, so they still could have made a Charles versus Chandler fight. But they ended up postponing the McGregor-Chandler fight to either August or September. But you already know how this game goes. We're going to get to August or September, and they're going to push that bitch back to December. This fight is not going to happen. This fight has less chance of happening than Khabib and Tony right now. Khabib and Tony can come back right now and still fight. But this fight wouldn't even happen. It's the new kryptonite of fights. Like it won't happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. As a fight fan, I'm not even getting my hopes up no more. Not even getting my hopes up no more because I don't even see the shit happening. And then to add insult to injury, Jamal Hill and Carlos Ulberg also seems to be off the card. So we got a new co-main event. The new co-main event is Brian Ortega against Diego Lopez. I love the matchup. I really do. It's going to be a slugfest. They're going to go at each other. You're talking about a real test for Diego Lopez right off rip. Obviously, he debuted against Movsar Evloev on short notice. But this is a little bit different. Movsar ain't been in there with the top guys for him to go in there and fight Diego. Diego is going up against a top guy now. Diego is elevating in this division way faster than guys who are undefeated. And I fuck with it. Let's go. Get my boy Diego Lopez up there. Diego Lopez is a savage. Absolute savage. But it's no easy task going up against a guy like Brian Ortega where at any given moment he can slip you into something and end up finishing the fight. So we'll see what happens. But that's the co-main event. So you got a new co-main. You got a new main event. And then for next weekend's card, our Saudi Arabia card, that stacked card, turned out to be Khamzat Chimaev is extremely ill, from Dana White's words. Extremely ill. That sucks to hear. It really does. I hope Khamzat gets better, but definitely seems like it's a consistent thing. Every time we get close to the fight, this man gets sick or something. Something's off. Something's not right. I don't know. Maybe his body can't handle cutting weight or something like that. Maybe there's something deeper than what it is. Yeah, he's a strong, badass dude who's in one of the toughest sports in the world, but doesn't mean that like you can't have any health problems. Like it's still a possibility, and that could be he could have some health problems, maybe just from cutting the amount of weight that he has to cut all the time, and that leads him to getting sick, violently ill, and stuff like that. So it sucks to see, really does suck. So that fight is off, but the whole thing didn't get scrapped. Robert Whittaker is still going to be on the card because that would have really, really screwed that entire card if Robert Whittaker was off that card along with Khamzat. But Robert Whittaker is going up against Ikram Aliskerov. If you're not hip to him, Ikram Aliskerov has been getting a few wins in the UFC. I think he's had 2 or 3 wins in the UFC, just debuted. The reason he is in the UFC is because he's known to be the one guy who gave Khamzat Chimaev a problem in the early pro days, right? His only loss in MMA is against Khamzat Chimaev. So it's one of those things where UFC sees this guy and has a possibility to elevate him quick if he can get a win over Robert Whittaker. That's the way to do it. I mean, he had a fight booked against forgot who it was against, but it was against somebody that was like gonna, put him in a position to start getting elevated. But man, running to Robert Whittaker now, that's something. That really is something. So like, it's crazy because you have so many middleweights, right? But no options at the same time, if that makes sense. There's so many middleweights, but no options to take this fight. One, nobody's gonna want to fight Rob Whittaker on 1 week notice. That's just, who wants to fight Robert the Reaper Whittaker on 1 week notice? No one wants to do that, right? So not only that, you got 1 week notice to fight Rob Whittaker. You got 1 week, and you're flying out to Saudi Arabia, right? You don't even get to get acclimated. You don't get none of that kind of stuff. You know, there's no change. You're just boom. So I can understand why guys turn this down. Sean Strickland turned this down. Kamaru Usman turned this down. Paulo Costa said he wanted it. I don't know if the UFC offered it to him, but I can see why a lot of people would turn this fight down. Maybe if it was 3-4 weeks left and you can get out to Saudi Arabia and get acclimated and everything like that with the changes and shit you need, then okay, that's one thing. But yeah, they couldn't get a middleweight matchup like to fill in, so they got Ikram Alaskirov. So shout out to him, honestly, for stepping up, because anybody to step up in a fight like this against a guy like Rob Whittaker, got some cojones. Good for you. Good for you. Everything else on that card is intact. Saudi Arabia card is completely intact besides that main event. And unfortunately, like, this situation is different than the McGregor-Chandler situation, right? This situation, I mean, he's violently ill, okay? So there's nothing you can do about that. You can't dog him. You can't talk shit about it. It is what it is. The man got violently ill. You don't want to see him go out there and fight just for our entertainment. Just for our entertainment, and then he ruins his career, or whatever the case may be. These guys are going out there for our entertainment. Obviously for their paycheck too, their life, their dream, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're getting our entertainment out of it, right? So you think about, you want the entertainment from a guy like Khamzat, you gotta allow him to go through the shit that he's got to go through. And it sucks to see, really does suck to see a guy that's as young as him in the position that he's in, so much room for him to really like take over the game. There really is. There's so much room for him to take over the game, and stuff just keeps popping in his way. And it seems like health is one of the issues almost every single time. But yeah, so that's why I said June is ass. June is ass. June for myself has not been so bad, but June has been ass when it comes to the fight game, right? You look at it, Dustin couldn't get it done, so a bunch of fight fans out here brokenhearted. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson got canceled for this month, so that kind of sucks. Everybody really wanted to see Tyson knock Paul out, so that gets canceled. Now we move on to the fights we're looking to, we're most excited for. Look, no offense to Alex Pereira and Tatsuro Taira for this weekend, but at the same time, like, why couldn't that be the fight that falls out? Why can't we just, like, but we're getting close to International Fight Week, aren't we? Aren't we? Or is that next month? That might be July might be International Fight Week. But either way, these are huge matchups all in 1 month, and shit's getting canceled. So it seemed too good to be true to begin with. That makes sense. But you know what's kind of weird? Take the name McGregor off the card. Alright. Keep the original card. Take the name McGregor off the card, and you put any lightweight. Any lightweight. Gaethje, Dustin, Islam, literally any lightweight. Arman, it doesn't matter. You put any lightweight in that position, in that spot that Conor McGregor was going to be in, and that card's whack. Realistically, the card would have been whack. This card is actually now better. and more improved. It just sucks because it's kind of on short notice for all these guys. But this card is now more improved. You got Yuri Petroska going up against Alex Pereira, and I'm ecstatic for that fight because they were gonna run it back anyways. I think it was gonna be further down the line at like UFC 305, but they brought it up to 303. Neither of them really took terrible amounts of damage in their last fight. Obviously, Yuri got hit a little bit more than Alex did, and you know, needed a little time to recover, but he's had enough time now to kind of get himself back in the groove if he didn't have any injuries. And Alex clearly didn't take no damage in the last fight, so it makes sense, and this is a good matchup. But this now seems like a better card. You got that as the main event, and then Diego Lopez and Brian Ortega, which you know is going to be a very fun fight, explosive fight, high-paced fight, which is exactly what the fans need. And then you still got Ian Gary and Michael Venom Page on the card. Awesome fight. Awesome fight. I love the fact that you have that fight because I feel like, I'm not a big Ian Gary fan, but I feel like Ian Gary is going to be the one to start bringing something different to MVP. Not something that he hasn't, like that MVP hasn't seen, but, you know, to maybe disrupt the awkward rhythm of MVP. I can see Ian Gary doing that, or completely getting just pieced up. But we'll see what happens. But we got those good matchups. So that's it for this episode. I've been trying to keep up. No lie. I've been trying to keep up with every bit of news. Right, the news keeps hitting while I'm at work, and then this last news hit around 10 tonight, 10:30 ish. Right. And I already shot a video at around 7-ish, 7:30-ish. Went to go edit it, get it set up and everything like that. I mean, it was talking about the same stuff, but the official cancellation of McGregor Chandler came after I made the video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how many videos am I going to have to make on this shit? So the next time, hopefully the next time I'm talking about McGregor versus Chandler, we're actually approaching the fight like it's legitimately gonna happen with no problems whatsoever. But that's it for this episode. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I will catch you on the next episode. I appreciate you for watching. As always, your boy Bando is out. Peace.
Stop.